Tips to prevent type 2 diabetes developing. Change your lifestyle using exercise and diet. Here are the things you can do. 1. Avoid sedentary behavior. A sedentary lifestyle is one in which you sit most of the day and undertake little physical activity. The link between sedentary behavior and the risk of diabetes is well proven. An analysis of the results of 47 studies found that people who spent most of the day engaged in sedentary behavior, e.g., office workers, have a 91% risk of developing diabetes. If you work in an office, there are several ways you can change your sedentary habits. Stand up from your desk and walk around for a few minutes every hour. Stand instead of sitting when talking on the phone. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park far away from the supermarket so you have to walk a good distance to get inside. Go for long walks in the evening, easy if you have a dog. The best way to reverse sedentary tendencies is to commit to specific actions you can do every day. 2. Get plenty of exercise. Research indicates that physical exercise increases the insulin sensitivity of cells. When you exercise, less insulin is required to enable your blood glucose to enter your cells. Many types of physical activity reduce blood glucose levels in pre-diabetic adults who are obese or overweight, including aerobic exercise, strength training and high-intensity interval training. One study of pre-diabetics indicated that high-intensity exercise increased insulin sensitivity by 85%, while moderately intense exercise increased it by more than 50%. But this effect only happened on the days that they actually worked out. Another study found that to improve insulin response in pre-diabetics, they needed to burn at least 2,000 calories a week through exercise. But that is not too hard to do if you set your mind to it. The trick is to find a physical activity you enjoy and can undertake regularly, and then stick to it for the long term. 3. Quit smoking. Besides cancers of the lung, breast, prostate, colon, esophagus and digestive tract, as well as emphysema and heart disease, research indicates that there are strong links between smoking and exposure to secondhand smoke and type 2 diabetes. Smoking increases the risk of diabetes by 44% in average smokers and 61% in heavy smokers, more than 20 cigarettes a day, compared to non-smokers according to a meta-analysis of several studies that together covered more than 1 million smokers. But quitting reduces this risk over time, not immediately. A study of middle-aged male smokers indicates that 5 years after quitting their risk of developing diabetes was reduced by 13% and after 20 years it was the same as people who had never smoked. 4. Lose weight. The majority of people who develop type 2 diabetes are overweight or obese. In addition, people with pre-diabetes tend to have visceral fat, i.e. they carry their excess weight around their middle and abdominal organs such as the liver. Studies have shown that excess visceral fat promotes insulin resistance, increasing the risk of diabetes significantly. This risk can be reduced by losing weight, especially around the middle. One study of more than 1,000 people found that for every kilogram, 2.2 pounds, they lost, their risk of diabetes was reduced by 16%. This study also found that the maximum reduction of risk was 96%, i.e. a loss of 6 kg, 13.2 pounds. There are many healthy ways for losing weight. Exercise. Dieting. You have many dietary options to choose from: Mediterranean, paleo, low-carb, vegetarian. The best, perhaps, is the Beating Diabetes diet. 5. Reduce the fat in your diet. As you already know, the main cause of type 2 diabetes is fat gumming up the receptors in your muscle cells, so the insulin cannot open the cell membranes to allow glucose to enter. The cure is to unblock the receptors. As you are pre-diabetic, it is likely that fat is already beginning to gum up the receptors. You can unblock the receptors by minimizing the fat you ingest in your diet. To minimize the fat you eat, make sure that less than 10% of the energy in any food you eat comes from fat. Read the labels, and reduce your consumption of meat, eggs and dairy products as much as possible, and focus on foods based on plants, fruit and vegetables. It's that simple. 6. Reduce the refined carbs you eat. Refined carbohydrates are refined sugar and grain products that have been milled. The process removes dietary fiber, vitamins, and minerals from the grains. Examples of refined carbs include white sugar, granulated sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and so on, as well as white flour, white rice, white pasta, etc. These are digested more rapidly than unrefined carbohydrates. Many studies have shown a link between the frequent consumption of sugar or other refined carbs and the risk of diabetes. For example, an analysis that looked at a total of 37 studies found that persons with the highest intakes of refined carbs are 40% more likely to develop diabetes than those with the lowest intakes. This is because simple sugars and refined carbs are digested very quickly and are absorbed rapidly in the bloodstream. This results in a spike in the level of glucose in your blood. But, as you are pre-diabetic, your body's cells are resistant to the action of insulin. As a result, the glucose spike stimulates your pancreas to produce more insulin. Over time, this leads to higher and higher blood glucose and insulin levels in your blood until you develop full-blown diabetes. To avoid this, you need to stop putting sugar in your tea and coffee, and stop drinking sodas and other sugary drinks. You also need to start eating natural foods such as whole grains, legumes, fruits, and uncooked vegetables, all of which are top sources for unrefined carbohydrates. If you need to know more about how to prevent pre-diabetes from getting worse, click link in the description to find out.